It is June the 22nd, 1945. The story starts with the dusty, bustling town of Jos, where the plateau's cold air bellies the simmering heat of ethnic rivalries, and the Igbo, a people known for their wanderlust and knack for trade, carve out a thriving community among the Hausa Fulani locals. They sell goods, build homes, and bring with them a spirit of ambition that some see as a threat. Today, the streets erupt. Mobs descend on Igbo neighborhoods, wielding sticks and machetes, their shouts drowning the cries of the fleeing. Houses burn, shops crumble, and blood stains the earth. Hundreds of Igbo lives are snuffed out in a frenzy that leaves no one accountable. The British colonial rulers, perched atop their distant authority, turn a blind eye, leaving the survivors to mourn in a land that feels less like home. This is no isolated flare, it whispers of what lies ahead. 8 years later, on May 1953, the ancient city of Kano becomes the next chapter in this grim saga. The Igbos settle in the Sabongeri district, their shops and churches dotting the landscape like markers of a southern foothold in the north. Nigeria inches toward independence, and the air thickens with political jostling. Southerners, including the Igbo, push for a united nation, while northern leaders cling to their regional power. A clash over constitutional reforms lights the fuse, and soon Kano's streets run red. Hausa Fulani mobs storm through Sabongeri, burning down Igbo homes and hacking at those who can't escape. The death toll climbs, some say 36, others over 100, and the survivors limp away, their dreams buried in their ashes. Once again, the British offer no justice, and the wound festers, a quiet promise of the worst to come. The years roll on, and Nigeria breaks free from colonial chains in 1960, but freedom breaks no peace. By 1966, the nation stands on a knife's edge, and the Igbo find themselves at the heart of a storm they don't fully brew. It begins in January, when a group of young army officers, many of them Igbo, stage a coup that topples the government and kills northern giants like Prime Minister Abubakar Tafawa Balewa and the revered Southerner of Sokoto, Amadu Bello. The coup plotters have in mind to install a Yoruba man from the west as the new head of government. Nonetheless, the coup fizzles, but an Igbo general, Agoyi Ironsi, takes the reins, stoking northern fears of domination. On May the 24th, Ironsi decrees a unitary state, stripping away the North's cherished federal autonomy. 5 days later, on May the 29th, the backlash comes swift and brutal, this time in different cities of northern Nigeria. Across Kano, Kaduna, Zaria, and Jos, northern mobs unleash their rage. Igbo families huddle in terror as their homes ransack, their churches blaze. Hundreds, maybe 1,000, fall, their bodies left as warnings. Press around the world whisper of organized slaughter, but Nigerian leaders call it chaos. For the Igbo, it signals a need to flee, though many stay, clinging to hope. That hope shatters on July the 29th, 1966, when the North strikes back with a vengeance. Northern officers, seething from the January coup, launch their own takeover, assassinating Ironsi and scores of Igbo soldiers in barracks from Kano to Kaduna. The violence doesn't stop at the military gates. Again, it spills into the streets. In cities across the north, mobs hunt Igbo civilians, their blades glinting under the sun. Thousands perish, some say 2,000, others 5,000. Their screams drown the chants of retribution. Yakubu Gowon, the new northern leader, promises safety, but his words ring hollow as soldiers and police stand idly by, or worse, join the carnage. The Igbo begin to trickle south, their lives packed into whatever they can carry, but the worst looms ahead. September the 29th, 1966, dawns as a day of reckoning. A rumor crackling over Radio Cotonou claims northerners suffer slaughter in the hands of Igbos in the east. A lie, but one that lights a match to the tinderbox. From Kano to Sokoto, from Zaria to Jos, the north becomes a killing ground once again. Mobs, armed and frenzied, go house to house, dragging Igbo men, women, children to the streets. At Kano Airport, passengers stepping off a plane face butchery at the tarmac, their bodies piling up as witnesses freeze in horror. Entire neighborhoods vanish in flames, and the roads south clog with refugees. Over 1 million souls fleeing a nightmare. The death toll climbs into the thousands, some say 8,000, others say 30,000, and the world barely blinks. By October, the north grows quieter, but only because the Igbo vanish. Their absence is scar on the land. This is no mere riot. It is a purge, and it pushes the Igbo to a breaking point. 8 months later, on May 30th, 1967, they declare Biafra, and Nigeria plunges into war. The echoes of 1966 linger long after the guns fall silent in 1970. In December 1980, Kano flares again, this time under the shadow of the Maitatsin riots. A fanatic preacher named Mohammed Marwa turns his followers against the state, but the Igbo, as Christians and traders, bear the brunt of the spillover. Sabongeri burns once more, and hundreds of Igbo lives vanish amid a broader slaughter that claims thousands. The early 1980s bring more pain. Maiduguri in 1982 and 1983, then Jimeta in 1984, where religious fervor and ethnic grudges fuse into deadly riots. In each city, Igbo shops crumble, their owners fall to machetes or flee with nothing. The toll remains murky, perhaps 500, perhaps 1,500, but the story stays the same. No sanctuary, no justice. The tale stretches into the 1990s and 2000s, a quieter but persistent drumbeat of violence. In Bauchi in 1991, Kano in 2000, just in 2001, the Igbo face mobs again. Their churches and markets touch in riots, sparked by religion or politics. Hundreds die in each flare-up, their names lost in the chaos of broader counts. The Igbo rebuild, as they always do, but the memory of 1966 hangs heavy, a wound unhealed, a warning unheeded. Through it all, they carry their resilience, their grief, and the question that lingers in the air: when does Nigeria truly become a home for all its people? This is the story of the Igbo Pogroms, a tapestry of survival stitched with threads of tragedy stretching from the colonial twilight of 1945 to the restless decades that followed. It's a tale of a people caught in the crosshairs of a nation's birth pangs. Their losses etch into history, their spirit endures against the odds. I am wordsmith Izu, a firm believer that stories like these be told and taught in our schools, exploring the division and scars such events only bring. We must, as a matter of fact, sensitize people to heed to the teachings that discourage thoughts and actions of tribal exterminations and alienations. Until I come your way again, stay informed. Dejenu.